economic catastrophe. Syriza was quick to accuse Samaras of scaremongering. It insists it has no intention of leading Greece to bankruptcy. Its leader, Alexis Tsipras, said a vote for his party is a vote for hope. Tsipras vowed to negotiate wisely with international lenders over the terms of post-bailout cooperation. And he's toned down his rhetoric that Greece will leave the Eurozone if he comes to power. No matter how the election unfolds, creditors are adamant Athens must honor its bailout commitments. If it fails to do so, Greece could once again face default on its $269 billion bailout, plus its Eurozone membership would be threatened. In order to govern alone, Syriza needs to secure a minimum 151 seats in Greece's 300-member parliament. Polls also showed gains for the extreme right party, Golden Dawn, which is vying for third place.
After spending nearly 40 years behind bars, a 70-year-old man was freed from prison in the United States after DNA proved he did not murder a mother and her daughter. Joseph Sledge was sentenced to life in prison in 1976 after the victims were found stabbed to death in their home in North Carolina. Just one day before that, Sledge had escaped from a prison work farm where he was serving a 4-year sentence for larceny. Recently, a DNA expert confirmed none of the evidence at the scene matched Sledge. He's the 8th person exonerated after an Innocence Inquiry Commission was established in North Carolina. So far, 325 prisoners have been set free across the country over DNA testing.
Back locally, concerned groups are worried about the rising trend of unsustainable and environmentally unfriendly practices in the fashion industry. While they've been working to raise awareness, are the people of Hong Kong ready to change their fashion choices for the sake of the environment? Our Stephanie Choi finds out more.
Government statistics show that back in 2012, Hong Kong threw away 293 tons of textiles every day. That's almost 107,000 tons for the whole year. Less than 4% of that was recovered and exported for recycling. None was recycled locally. Through various events, local sustainable fashion company Redress aims to raise awareness about the negative environmental impacts brought upon by the fashion industry, especially with the emergence of low-cost and unsustainable fast fashion.
Designers can create beautiful pieces that are sustainable. Now, really what that does for consumers is it just opens their minds to other, better ways of design. And we hope that these types of ideas will permeate into their fashion purchases out in the shops in Hong Kong, and also in the way that they actually manage their clothes.
It's not just a waste of textiles when low-quality fast fashion pieces go to landfills. According to Redress, manufacturing such pieces puts a strain on the environment because lots of water, energy and chemicals go into the production process. But what do consumers think of the clothing options that are available here?
I know there are a lot more sustainable fashion stores like overseas and not so much in Hong Kong, but if there are any, I'd love to know.
Yeah, there's not enough information about how the clothes is made and where it's made and what part of it is organic and which part is actually affecting the environment.
Fashion designers we spoke to describe sustainable fashion as a trend, but how long will it stay?
Sustainability in the fashion industry really requires multi-stakeholder initiatives, and that can be from the government down to academia. And when it comes to the government, one thing that the NGO world would love to see is tighter regulations for suppliers so that fewer environmental violations can be done.
So the winner is Team D.
Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
Next, gearing up for the Hong Kong Marathon. The weather tomorrow may not be ideal for long-distance running. So how should runners prepare for the races? Our Owen Fung has the answer.
Runners are likely to be greeted by light rain tomorrow morning, according to the Hong Kong Observatory. Temperatures will range from 16 to 20 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity could reach as high as 90%. Sports scientist Lobo Lui says these are not the best conditions for long-distance running.
And if the weather is rather hot and humid, that will affect the runner's performance, particularly maybe they have an increased higher chance to get fatigue.
The risk of cramps will also increase by 10 to 20%, Lui adds. That's because the body won't be able to cool itself as efficiently under humid conditions. So how can runners protect themselves?
The possible strategy maybe they have to control their own tempo, their rhythm, and the pacing, and to maintain a proper pacing throughout the whole marathon running.
To make sure they're physically prepared, runners are also advised to have a decent breakfast and drink enough water beforehand. And a good night's sleep is essential, Lui says. Special traffic arrangements will be in place for the races. Runners taking part in the full marathon will start at Nathan Road in Tsim Sha Tsui. They'll make their way to Ting Ma Bridge before turning back to Hong Kong Island and ending at Victoria Park in Causeway Bay. Owen Fung, TVB News.
And we are on pace for a whole host of sports today, right, Chris?
Yeah, and some more sport where heat is a factor. Top seed Novak Djokovic is in the fourth round of the Australian Open thanks to a straight sets victory over Fernando Verdasco. Also advancing are the Williams sisters, but as Alan Booknier reports, both had lackluster starts before putting it together.